Hey everyone, good evening, good evening, good evening. This is definitely a late night live. I typically don't go late, don't go live this late. But I know that I've been moving the last few days. We did our mastermind, a 2-day intensive um, on Friday and Saturday, and we just been moving and shaking. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I came on to give you all some gems and some jewels this evening. And so tonight's stream, it's a late night live. It's about a little after 11 p.m. over here on the East Coast. And so I am ready to dive right in. So tonight's topic rather, is all about 3 keys to develop an abundance mindset. And one of the reasons why I felt like this was extremely important to talk about and to discuss was anytime because anytime you are on a path to elevation, anytime you are on the path to acceleration, anytime that you are leaning into purpose, anytime that you are leaning into power, prosperity, and growth, you have to begin to develop an abundance mindset. This is a mindset that allows you to expand your thinking, a mindset that allows you to receive more, a mindset that forces you to think bigger, usually more than you probably could have asked, probably more than you can ask, think, or imagine. And so I want to share a little bit about my journey, about how I started out and how I transitioned from having a very lack mindset to having an abundance mindset. So for those of you all who are new to me, my name is Jasmine Womack. I am also can be found at the Jasmine Womack across social media channels. And yes, it is like a little bit after 11. Listen, we were at the pool all day today. I was at the pool with the kids this summer break, but I said that I'm going to go live before it gets too late. So I've got my tea here. I don't know if you guys are sipping on some water or some coffee, but let's get right into it. So for those of you all who are new to me, my name is Jasmine Womack. I'm the CEO of the Impact Group and the founder of the Published and Paid Success Academy and Published and Paid Mastermind, where we work with authors, speakers, coaches, experts, and corporate professionals to help them transform their $1 million message into a best-selling book, and then transform their book into online courses, digital products, and high-ticket coaching and consulting programs. And so that's what we do. That's what I've been able to do in my business. And that's what we've been able to help our clients do. And I would love the opportunity to work with you to help you do that as well. So we specifically work with experts or people who have a proven success in an area to help them develop their expertise, position themselves as qualified and credible, right? And help them to grow their speaking careers, help them to grow their coaching and consulting careers through writing a book. And so, yes, we definitely work with authors, but we don't work with just any authors. We don't work with just anybody who wants to write a book. We don't work with people who, want to just share their story and talk about all the things that have happened to them, or or people, who want to write urban romance. Like our clients typically are writing self-help books. They're writing how-to books in the areas of relationships, in the areas of fitness, in the areas of finances, like actual substantial material that helps readers get from point A to point B and accomplish something by the time they read their book. Had to say that. Okay. And so if you don't know a little bit anything about my story, I'm a former language arts teacher. So I was a middle school educator for 12 years. And during that time, I taught 6th, 7th, and 8th grades, different grades during different years. But I didn't always, I'm sorry, let me backtrack. But I've gone from being an educator for 12 years to now being a full-time entrepreneur for the past 5 years and growing a 7-figure business from the ground up. Okay. And so in order to do that, and in order to make those shifts, Financially, in order to make those shifts business wise, I had to make those shifts internally and in my mind first. So before I could ever attain anything, before I could ever reach certain milestones, mile markers, and goals in my business, the shifts and the milestones and the mile markers had to be made with, ooh, sorry guys. There we go. Yeah, I got it set up on my laptop, but it had to be made within my mind and it had to be made within my spirit first. Within my spirit first. Normally I have my phone on my tripod. I might have to go get my tripod over there. I just got it set up on my laptop right now. Being lazy. Tonight I'm like, listen, it's 11. I'm gonna find the easiest way to do this. All right. All right. But coming from a career in education, I didn't have an abundance mindset the way that I do now. Of course, I wanted the best out of my career. I wanted the best for my students. But when it came to what I wanted for my life and what I saw myself accomplishing, and even the type of money that I could make, I wasn't thinking big. I wasn't thinking big. I'm gonna be totally honest. I was not thinking big. But I knew that in order to accomplish the goals that I had, and in order to get from where I was to where I wanted to be, I had to begin to shift. And once I began to shift, once I began to develop, I began to notice a few things and I began to do a few things differently. So the first thing that I began to notice was complaints. I'll notice how much I complained, and I noticed how much people around me or in my environment complained, meaning that people were always complaining about money, what they didn't have, and using what I call broke language, right? Very limiting language. Oh, I'm broke. I ain't got it. I won't do this, that, the other, or just literally living each day in anticipation of the next paycheck. And I knew that I did not want to stay in that environment, and I did not want that to be the rest of my life. Because I began to realize that if other people were creating wealth for themselves, then I could create wealth for myself. And it wasn't that others were better than me. It was just that they had information that I didn't have. And if I wanted similar results, then I was going to have to tap into their knowledge. I was going to have to tap into the information, right? I began to shift and develop when I wrote my first book. Now, a lot of aspiring authors actually make the mistake of feeling like their book has to be perfect. It has to be profound. It has to be Oprah worthy the first time out. No, it needs to be substantial. Like, you need to provide substantive information. You need to provide transformational information. And you got to understand that as authors, we tend to overly criticize ourselves. We tend to be extremely hard on ourselves when it comes to our work. And so the whole time you're sitting there thinking that your book isn't profound, it's not this, it's not that, but to the person who's reading it, it's everything they needed and more. And so I want to encourage you to stop criticizing yourself so much. Like, stop being so hard on yourself. Finish what you started and put it out. Because you can create, you can write, you can publish a high quality book. You can write a high quality book within a period of time. So you have to remember and understand that you overly critiquing yourself and never getting your work out is not serving anybody. You're not helping anybody by procrastinating. You're not helping anybody by sitting on your work. You're not helping anybody every time you get into overthinking and you allow your overthinking to stop your progress. You're not helping anybody by not getting the help that you need. You're not helping anybody by thinking that what you are writing is not good enough. You're not helping anybody by taking too long to write your book. I'm going to be honest with you. You're not helping anybody by doing that. And so me getting my book, my first book out, writing it, self-publishing it, not only did it empower me and build my confidence because I was actually able to um, accomplish a goal that I had set for myself and that had been 10 years in the making. But when people began to give me reviews, when people began to give me feedback, when people began to reach out to me via DMs and emails and share with me how my words transform their life or open their mind, open their minds or help them, get their finances on track, so on and so forth, my confidence grew in my doing. Okay. And so I knew that if I wanted to be a household name, I knew that if I wanted to build wealth for myself and for my children, I knew that if I wanted more than what I currently had, then I was going to have to approach my book from a totally different way than I had seen other people approach theirs. And you guys got to understand, like when I was in college, I ran with a group of people and all of them were doing pretty amazing things. And some of those things were that they were self-publishing their books. We were 18, 19, 20, 21. And it was a great thing, right? But a lot of their books looked self-published. Even after college, I knew a lot of self-published authors, some who couldn't even afford to buy copies of their own books. And I knew that I didn't want my story to be that. I knew that I wanted my books to go much further than our annual homecoming celebrations. I knew that I wanted my books to go much further than, the open mic nights at the coffee houses, right? So I knew that if I wanted different results, than people who I had seen previously, then I was going to have to come differently. And so I want you to think about the type of impact that you want to have. I want you to think about where you want people to be in the world reading your books. I want you to think about how your book and how your words and how the advice and the perspectives and the strategies that you are going to share are going to help people, not just in your family, not just in your friend groups and friend circles, not just in your town and your region, but in your country, in countries all over the world. And that's one of the things that I absolutely love about doing business online is that there are no limits. You can literally reach anybody, anywhere in the world. And because you have transformed from being a consumer into being a producer, you now have the power of influence where your words and your products are positively influencing someone else's life. And so when you begin to approach your books, when you begin to approach your speeches, when you begin to approach your products from that standpoint and from that perspective, then you have to develop an abundance mindset, because there is no way that you are going to tell yourself on one hand that you're going to change the lives of people all over the world. There's no way that you're going to tell yourself beforehand that your books are going to be in the hands of people on airplanes and in different countries and different continents, and you don't have an abundance mindset to support that vision, to support that capacity. Because that's expansion. That's expansion. Y'all follow me? Those are expansive goals. Those are the expansive visions. And so for me, writing my first book was the very, very beginning. It was the beginning for me to begin to create that abundance mindset and accepting and embracing that I literally had the power in my hands and in my heart and in my mind and spirit to change the lives of people all over the world. The other thing that helped me to begin to shift my perspective and begin to develop an abundance mindset was that I saw people who didn't have half the credentials that I had or half of the professional experience that I had go out into the marketplace and absolutely kill it. And I said to myself, I said, you know what? These folks, I've invested in my education. I've, gone to school. I've served in leadership in my career. I've done this. I've done that. I've done this and I've done that. And sis over here worked at a gas station and didn't go to college. And she is leveraging what she has, building an audience, and is generating at that time $30K per month. I was like, there's no excuse why that shouldn't be me too. The only difference was that she was showing up in a way that I wasn't. It's just like one of the kickers that got me into writing my first book. I had been working on my first book for years, y'all, like literally for years. But I had a horrible case of writer's block because as a teacher, I was constantly writing and then editing as I wrote, writing, trying to start, stop. I don't know if that's any of y'all, right? But I was in this constant, like this perpetual cycle of I'm never finishing because I can't get past the first 3 paragraphs because every time I write, I edit as I write and I can't progress. That's where I was. And I totally forgot the point I was going to make. It's going to be real good because I went out for my notes. But going back to what I was saying, I saw people with none of the credentials that I had killing it. Absolutely killing it. Hey, Dr. Ross. Hey, Teresa on YouTube. Hey, Dr. Ross on Facebook. But yeah, I saw people that they were just showing up in a different way. They were showing up in a different way. Okay. And so my first book, it took me like 10 years to write because by nature, I was in academia. And it was difficult for me to get my thoughts out without overly criticizing myself. And I was trying to make my first draft the final draft. And your first draft is never a final draft. And I knew that because I taught it all the time. But in application, it was a different story. So I literally had to surrender to the process. I remember where I was going with it. But before that, when I was stuck in this start, stop cycle, it was my assistant principal at the time. I was teaching 6th grade. And my assistant principal at the time was promoting her daughter's book. So she had a daughter in high school who had written this book about her experience doing I think it was like a foreign exchange program where she went over to another country and stayed over there to study for a while. And at the time, I think the daughter might have been like maybe a sophomore or junior in high school. And so I bought a copy of the book to support, right? But y'all, I felt so bad. I felt awful. And this is why I felt awful. I was like, here I am. And this was what is it? This was like 12 years ago, y'all. But I was like 13 years ago. 13 years ago. This is when it was. But I was like, maybe it was about 13, 14 years ago. Man, time flies. But I was like, here I am, been working on this book for 10 some odd years. I keep getting caught up on my thoughts. I keep making excuses why it's not done. I keep procrastinating. But this high schooler has gotten it done. And here I am, a grown adult, and I haven't done it. And y'all, it kicked me and it shifted me something serious. And I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed with myself because I was like, I didn't do what I set out to do. And I've been talking about this for years. But here go this high schooler, they've done it. Didn't have half the credentials I had, didn't have half the experience that I had, didn't have half the not professional knowledge that I had, but they had done it. And that's part of what kicked me into gear and got me up off of my behind, because I was like, there's absolutely no excuse. It's not, it wasn't a lack of knowledge. It was just a lack of implementation. It was a lack of execution. They were showing up in a way in which I wasn't. And so what I realized is that when you are on the path to embracing abundance, when you are on the path to purpose and to profit, you got to get rid of all the excuses and really, really begin and really, really lean into embracing expansion. And I understand that for some people, expansion can be scary because you're looking at, oh my gosh, if I actually do this, what if I'm successful? I understand that success scares some people because all of a sudden eyes are going to be on you, because all of a sudden you have to come from behind the shadows and you have to be out in front. But there's a blessing in expansion. There's freedom in expansion. There's creativity in expansion. And there's absolutely, saving other people and helping yourself in the process in expansion. So expansion is a great thing. So when you want to begin to shift from where you are into developing an abundance mindset, here are 3 things that I want you to do. Number 1, I want you to count the costs. Count the cost. What I mean by counting the cost is looking at your current credentials. What have you done successfully in your job, in your career? What are you doing with others? Some of y'all, you've just been helping people already, but you've been helping them for free. You've been staying on the phone for hours at a time, on the weekends. But you haven't been taking people coming to you for help, coming to you asking for advice, but you doing it for free. So I want you to count the cost. What have you already successfully done to get to where you are? What skill sets do you naturally have? What education do you have? What have you already overcome? What have you accomplished? Who have you helped? How have you helped them? A lot of you all just need to count the costs and move forward accordingly. Like you're more than qualified. You're overly qualified. And I'm talking to people at all different levels because listen, I remember when in my business, I was making multiple 6 figures and was still discounting myself. I still was not giving myself credit where credit was due because I wasn't counting the cost. And so when I say count the cost, I literally want you to sit down tonight and make a full out list of the things that you've been able to do, the people that you've been able to help, the people that you've been able to get results, whether it's been on your career, whether it's been in your relationships, friendships, whether it's been in your business or a combination of all 3. Results and credentials. Write them all down. Okay? The second thing I want you to do is to elevate your circle. Anytime you want to go to a new level, you need to elevate your circle. Now, when I say that, I do not mean that you need to stop hanging out with the people that's been there. You don't have to stop hanging out with your day ones. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that when you want to begin to expand your mindset and when you want to begin to go places and do things that people in your circle have not done, then you have to put yourself in environments where people are already doing those things. And it's different on every single level. Yes, you can be a millionaire and you can be at 7 figures and want to get to 8 figures, and that means that you need to put yourself in the room with people that are having 8 figure conversations. You need to put yourself in the room with people that are having 8 figure businesses and people who are acquiring and selling businesses. So it's at every single level. Whether you're in your job, you want to go full time in your career, in your business, whether you're already, at the 6 figure mark and you want to go to multiple 6 figures, you've reached the $100,000 mark, you want to go up to $250,000 or $500,000, whether or not you're at the $500,000 mark, you want to go up to the multi-millions, you're at the $1 million mark, you want to go to 8 figures, 10 million or more. There are different conversations at each level. So when you want to be there, when you want to expand your territory, you need to put yourself into some different rooms. Because let me tell you, I know a lot of entrepreneurs who are comfortable being right in their computer, right with their computer in their house by themselves. But the real growth is going to come offline, where you're actually meeting people and building relationships. The right relationship can open the door for you. Okay. And the next thing that you need to do when you want to actually begin to either develop or expand an abundance mindset, you need to start studying abundance thinking. Start listening to speeches about abundance. I listen to a lot. I listen to a lot of speeches. Jim Rohn is one of my favorite guys that I listen to on YouTube. Secrets of a Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Denise Duffield Thomas. There's another lady, I cannot think of her name right now, but gosh, she had a series of books. I can't think of it and I didn't write it down. You Are a Badass. So like, you're a badass at making money. It's like that You Are a Badass series. But You Are a Badass at Making Money is really, really good. I'm going to be honest with you. Somebody said Napoleon Hill. I couldn't get through Think and Grow Rich. It sounds good, but that book is not interesting to me. I have tried to read it so many times. I'm not going to even sit here in front. I have tried to read it so many times, and I get to the second chapter and I fall asleep. So I can't even say Think and Grow Rich. Now, what I will say is that I picked up Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice by Dennis Kimbrough. And I think I might have a much better opportunity at getting through that one and reading that one and digesting that one. But just the old school Napoleon Hill, and people don't say they people be talking about it, but they ain't read the whole book. They probably read a couple chapters. Listen, I have tried at that book several times. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Now, the audiobook might be better, but I couldn't do the paperback. It was not my cup of tea. All right. So definitely study abundance thinking. Like, you have to, where the Bible says renew your mind, that you have to renew your mind. And when you're studying abundance thinking, right? Y'all comments. I'm sitting up here reading these comments and I lost my train of thought because y'all got me laughing. But listen, I'm trying to think about what I was about to say, y'all, because I had something good I was going to say. It's late. But what I was going to say is that I'm on study abundance thinking. So we were talking about reading different books, listening to different podcasts. And yes, that's where I was going. You have to literally renew your mind, like the Bible says. And so when you want to grow and expand your mindset into a mindset of abundance, you cannot just limit your actions to reading books and listening to podcasts. There's going to have to be some deep inner work that you're going to have to do as well, because that means that you're going to have to dig up what's like. You can't put new information on top of old information without addressing the old information that's been there. You're going to have to look at your blueprint. T. Harv Eker calls it your money blueprint. You're going to have to look at your money blueprint. This means that you're going to have to go back to what you were taught about money as a child. You're going to have to go back to the experiences that you had with money as a child, as a young adult, and even as an adult. You're going to have to look at the times in which you were betrayed by people or by family when it came to money, and how those situations and circumstances impacted you, and how you relate to money and how you handle money, moving forward after that situation. You got to look at your beliefs about money. Like, do you believe that money will come to you easily and frequently? Do you believe that money is a friend? Or do you believe that every time you get money, something happens and you have to pay it? Pay it out for something unexpected. Like, you got to really, really begin to do some self-assessment and really start considering how you address money, how you approach money, what you were raised to think about money, the conversations that you grew up with hearing about money and finances. I found that a lot of people are scared of money because of how they grew up with it and the conversations or the lack of conversations that they had or heard. And you really have to embrace it. You got to embrace learning about it. And let me tell you this. You got to manage your personal finances, because however you manage your personal finances, you're going to do that way or worse with your business finances. That's the truth. Okay? So listen, if you are a high-level professional, you are an author, speaker, coach, consultant, if you are looking to elevate your circle, and if you are looking to expand your mindset and your thinking, and you know that I'm your coach, you know that we need to work together, get off the sidelines. So here are a few ways that you can work with me. Published and Paid Live is going down here in Atlanta, Georgia, October 27th through 29th. Currently, we have 67 tickets left for the event. Okay. 4 of those tickets are for VIP Platinum. So VIP Platinum tickets come with a brand shoot from my brand photographers. You're going to have pose coaching as well. You'll get both headshots and lifestyle photos. VIP Platinum comes with VIP lunch on days 1 and 2, preferred seating, and a private suite session with me and the other VIP Platinum ticket holders. We only have 4 VIP Platinum tickets remaining. All right. Published and Paid Live is where it's at. I'm telling you. So make sure that you go to www.publishedandpaidlive.com to learn more about the 3-day event, and to make sure that you secure your spot. And if you have questions, hop in my DMs on Instagram or Facebook. Okay. Hop in my DMs so that we can have a conversation. I'm an open book. I can answer any questions that you have. All right. Another way to work with me right now is through a VIP day. So VIP days are where we work one-on-one on a particular area. So whether you want to whether you're a course creator and you want to transform your course into a book, whether you are an expert and you want to write a book to position yourself as an authority in your industry, and you want to do that in a day by working with me. All right. If you are already a published author and you want to transform your book into a course, definitely the VIP day is for you. We can get that done in a day. So again, you can put a comment down below. Excuse me. You can shoot me a DM if you want more information on how to make this happen. So we have VIP platinum tickets to Publish and Pay Live. And we have VIP days. Right now I'm booking out for July and August. Okay, booking out for July and August. So if that's something that you're interested in, you know it's your time, and you want to have these things done within the next 60 to 90 days, let's make it happen. Okay. I appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. And this will stay up on YouTube and Facebook. It is coming down on Instagram. And I will see you guys later. You have a great rest of your evening.